Hello and welcome to another edition of Overcoming Illness. I am Paula Denoncourt, your host, founder, and CEO of Enrich Your Health. I am a holistic health coach. I help my clients living a life of pain and suffering by offering simple diet tips, lifestyle tips, and especially recipes. I myself suffered from multiple food allergies, so that was the one thing that was missing. So I can help you, if you have to eat dairy-free, gluten-free, sugar-free, all of that. So if you go to my website, Enrich Your Health, ENRICHURHEALTH.com, go to the store. I have recipes there, or I can customize them for you. So I am looking for people to partner with, other practitioners that, or could even be apostles, pastors, doctors, nurses, personal trainers, anything like that. I'm looking to partner with you because you might have clients or patients that are always like, I don't know what to eat. My stomach hurts all the time. Those are the key words that I could help you with. I can customize recipes for that. So I created this show, Overcoming Illness, because people's stories need to get out there. People have different things that they're dealing with, and their stories need to get out there to help other people. So we have had so many great guests. If you haven't seen any of these guests, please go back and watch the replays. We've talked about cancer, congestive heart failure, mold toxicity, all kinds of different things. And so last but not least, I need you as a guest. So please reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. It's under my name, Paula Denoncourt, or you can email me, info@enrichyourhealth.com. And that is with a UR, info@ENRICHURHEALTH.com. So you can reach me that way or text 508-330-9665, again, if you're listening. And last but not least, we just put out a new book. We just released a book, Activate Your Faith, Witness a Generational Turnaround. And I will show you a picture of that. Give me one moment. There we go. And that is our brand new book we just released. Quickly, we've had some shows about it, but just quickly, I'll just tell you, if you haven't seen any of the shows, we have people in there that have experienced strokes, kidney disease, an airplane crash. Myself, I dealt with multiple food allergies. So you definitely want to get this book for encouragement and hope, or even give it as a gift. Take a screenshot of it and you can get that on Amazon. So without further ado, I am really, really excited about my guest today. We have Jeronda Kennedy, and Jeronda Kennedy is currently the proud owner of Jeronda Juice Bar and Kennedy and Family Restoration Cleaning Services. She's a proud mother. She was inspired to pursue her business after being diagnosed with thyroid disease. She's proud to say that she specializes in juices that are designed to fit your personal health needs while quenching your thirst. I love that. Can't wait to hear about this juice business. Their products are 100% natural and made with love. So welcome, Jeronda. Thank you for being on today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I am so excited to hear about your thyroid illness, your juice business. I'm really, really excited about that. So I myself have taken a raw food course a few years back where I learned how to eat without cooking food. So it's nothing scary for you people listening. You might know what that is, but it's just eating whole foods. Like, you don't cook anything over 115 to 118 degrees. You lightly steam vegetables. You eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, all these different things. So you're not eating meats and chickens and things like that. So it just opened my whole world. So I learned all about juicing and all of that. it really did open my world. I didn't even know there was so many different types of juicers. So, and even now, I haven't even kept up with it. There's all new juicers. So just to give everybody a little background on that real quick, different juicers provide better nutrients because of the
Yes.
way that it works. So I'll let you talk about that more because you're going to be more of an expert in it than I am even at this point. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, your family, your background. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my name is Jeronda Kennedy. I grew up in the Pompano area, Pompano Beach, Florida, in a smaller city called Collier City. It was a drug infested community where I seen a lot of drugs and gangs and violence and
Ooh,
killings, things
yeah.
like that. And I was raised by my grandmother. My grandmother raised me because my mom was a drug addict.
Oh,
So
wow.
my grandmother ended up raising me and my other siblings. So yeah, my upbringing was it was very difficult. It
Mm,
was it was very hard for me. Um, Me growing up, it was always hard. It was always challenging for me as an individual. And I didn't realize why it was so hard for me because of the call that God has on my life. So now I understand why everything was so hard and everything I went through so much, even as a kid, not being able to enjoy my childhood, because I ended up getting pregnant at 14, having
wow.
a baby at 15, and then it's like from then on I just went to having kids. So I was like 22, 23 with 4 or 5 kids.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yes. Yes. So that led me to drop out of high school. I was in the ninth grade. I had to drop out of high school, get a job. So I was never able to go back to school.
Mm,
And my grandmother ended up taking sick. So she ended up passing away because she used to help me out with my babies. Like I knew nothing about taking care of kids.
no,
I was a kid myself.
right.
So she ended up passing away, and me and my children became homeless.
Oh, my gosh.
And yeah, we became homeless, and I used to sleep in the car with my kids. And I used to go around to different gas stations and ask people for money just to feed my kids.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I would go like at nighttime when it was time for us to go to sleep, I would go to the beach and wipe them off and then, let them go to sleep in the car while I stayed up and just looked around and make sure no one seen us sleeping in the car. And so I end up getting into a shelter, and I end up getting my first apartment out of the shelter. I stayed in the shelter for about 2 or 3 months. I end up leaving the shelter, getting my first apartment. And yeah, and the situation happened with me losing custody of my children.
Mm,
Um, that was really an experience for me, because growing up, that was all I had it was just me and my children. I didn't have any family, no one to support me.
wow.
Everybody was always talking about the negatives, but nobody would never help me out. No one never lend a helping hand and say, well, you can come live with me.
Right.
So
Wow.
it was just me and my kids. And so when my kids was taken back in 2009, I felt hopeless. Like I felt like I didn't have anything to live for because
Mm,
my kids was all that I had. And I can remember, excuse me, um, sitting in the room after my kids was taken. Mind you, where I was living, it was on a corner lot. So when they was taken, everybody could see because people used to hang out, and I was living on a corner lot. So it happened in broad daylight. So I was humiliated. I was
oh,
embarrassed. I was ashamed.
wow.
And so I can remember that night that the situation happened, and I sat in the room and I was just crying, just very in a very dark place. And the enemy came in my mind. He said, you might as well just take your life. You don't have anything to live for. You know, you failed as a mother. You don't have nobody. And I can remember I was preparing myself. I said, I got my keys and everything. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm done. And I got a knock on the door. It was my daughter's grandmother. She came. She said, I came to sit with you. And I was like, okay. She had no idea I was going to take my life.
Oh my God. Wow.
I was going to take my life. I was ending it. I was done, Miss Paula. And we sat in the car and I just cried. Still, she had no idea. And she said, I want to invite you to church. Would you come to church? And I was like, to be honest, I said, I don't even want to go to church. I said, what I'm going through right now, like, I don't want to hear about church. I want to hear about none of that. I didn't know God. You know, I went to church off and on with my grandparents, but it wasn't a consistent thing. Like, I didn't have a relationship for myself. I didn't know him.
Right.
I used to hear about him, but I didn't never experience him for myself.
Right.
And I ended up going to church with her, and I was sitting in the back of the church, and the pastor was just preaching, but he was like preaching everything that I was going through. And I was like, wow, somebody had to tell this man about what I'm going through, because he's like preaching to me.
Wow.
And I was like, this is unbelievable.
Wow.
And I just stopped, and the tears just would flow. And I ended up leaving, and I came back that night. In 2009, when I came back that night, I gave my life to Christ. I gave my life to Christ. And I wouldn't say things got better, but when I gave my life to Christ, there was a strength that came over me that allowed me to go through the situation with peace, with ease.
Right.
And allowed me to forgive those who had came up against me without a cause, the ones that I used to help and I used to allow to come live with me and my children, and they end up turning on me. You know, they end up taking my children, fighting against me. You know, and so God gave me a peace, and God allowed me to forgive them.
Wow.
And be at peace with it. And even in the midst of all that, I kept coming to church. Not saying that I was perfect, because I had my falls and I have my issues and I had my times where I failed, and I still would come. But I kid you not, it was God was doing something inside of me, because I needed to be delivered, because I had been molested as a little girl. I had been molested. I always felt abandoned because I didn't have my mother. I felt rejected because I never fitted in with the crowd. I always stood out. I always was a loner to myself. I never fitted in. I was just like, I must be not pretty enough or not good enough. I don't dress good enough, because I never fit in. And so I deal with rejection. I deal with abandonment. I deal with insecurity, low self-esteem. I dealt with depression. I dealt with oppression. Like I dealt with a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yes. And that time that God began to work on me, you know, it was a place of isolation where he removed me from people and got me to myself. And that's when I began to build a relationship with him. And I never understood, but he began to reveal to me in bits and parts. This is why this happened. This is why that happened. And I was like, okay, all right. It's all starting to make sense. And I end up meeting my husband back in 2015. My husband, he ended up finding me and got married to my husband. I let him know off the top how many children I had.
Right.
You know, and because in prayer during that time of isolation, I told God, I said, Lord, the next guy that come in my life, I said, he has to marry me, you know. And I will always say, I said, Lord, because I want a man that's gonna love me for me.
Right.
Because I had been with guys that just wanted to use me for my body and take advantage, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't really love me.
Yep.
And so that place of isolation and prayer and communion with God, I told God, I said, God, send me a man that will love me for me.
Mm.
And he sent that man, and he began to come to church with me, and I seen God change his life. I seen God change his life. I seen God begin to change my life. And now we go out in the streets and we minister. We have a speaker, we have two speakers, and we go out in the streets and we
Oh,
preach the
wow.
gospel. We preach the gospel. And it's just amazing of the people that come and receive.
That's amazing. Street ministry,
Yes.
not easy. Not
Yes.
easy. A
It's
lot of
totally different.
yeah, a lot of retaliation up there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But it's totally different from being inside the four walls when,
Oh yeah,
you know, yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So let's back up a little bit. So you were pregnant when you were 14. Now, I had a cousin. She was pregnant when she was 14. And in that relationship, same thing. My grandmother wound up raising her. But let
Yes.
me tell you, her mom was like was very jealous, because it was almost like a sister type jealousy. She was 14 when she had her. She was
Mm-hmm.
jealous of that child all the time. She was jealous from her husband, my uncle. She was very jealous of that child because she was getting all this attention. So they had a horrible, horrible relationship. So tell us, so you were 14, you were pregnant. How many kids did you have? And like, what was the age of years in between each child?
Oh man. It was like back to back, year after year.
It was.
2000, and my daughter Shoshonda, she was born in 97. And I
Mm-hmm.
ended up having in 97, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. It was
I'm
like
sorry.
back to back.
How many do you have?
I have 11. So I
You
have
have
two with my
11
husband.
kids?
Yes.
No way.
Yes,
11.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You make
I
me
have
fall here.
7 girls and 4 boys.
You have 11 kids. How old are you
Yes.
now, if you don't mind my
I am
asking? Okay.
41.
Wow. That's
Yes.
like unheard of today. You know what I mean? Like the old days, people had 11 kids. But wow. You
Yes.
don't even look like you have one child, let alone 11. You look amazing.
Mhm. Thank you. To God be the glory.
So back up. So I know you said your kids got taken away. Did all 11 get taken away? How long were they taken?
Well, that was back in 2009. I didn't have 11
Yep.
children at that moment. I
Okay.
had I believe I had like 6. Hold on, let me
6 at
see.
the time.
Yeah, I had 6 at the time.
Okay.
So all 6 was taken away.
Wow. And for how long?
For it was about 4 years. About 4
Wow.
years.
4 years. And then you
Yes.
got back.
Yes. I end up, well, the oldest one ended up coming back, but I still have 2 younger ones that's still with with the relatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
did. So 2 of them didn't come back ever.
Yes. 2 of them didn't come back. So I had the oldest ones, they came back.
And do you have a relationship with the 2 younger ones?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
That's good. I was actually adopted myself, but I don't know anything about my biological family. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, my cousin
Wow.
Sandra, she went through a lot. Her mother was jealous of her because it's almost like they were sisters, not mom and daughter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, that
Mm-hmm.
jealousy of a sister would have, that kind of thing. She
Wow.
was, jealous of the attention from her husband to the daughter, and she didn't raise her. Mm-mm. It was a
Wow.
grandmother that wanted. She was just too young. And alcohol played a part. My aunt drank a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm
Wow.
still. I can't even get that out of my head. 11 kids. Oh my lord! I haven't even had one. I'm 56. That's a
Yes, ma'am.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. Oh my god!
Yes.
And then you were homeless. So you were homeless when after you got the kids or before?
No, before this happened.
So you're homeless before you lost them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that was with 6 kids.
Yes.
You were sleeping in a car with 6 kids.
I was sleeping in the car with 6 kids.
Wow. What the heck kind of car was it?
It was a little, I had back then I had an Acura TL, so it was a little 4-door car. It wasn't all that big, but
Not even like a bigger vehicle.
yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a guest on a couple of shows ago. I'll have to send you the replay. I mentioned to you before we started the show that you need a book, and she actually helps people write books. She helps them heal before they write their book. So, and she was also molested. So it's all about like healing their trauma and then
Yes.
helping them write. So you might want to hook up with her and connect with her and get your book out, because I know you have a book in you. There is no
Yes.
doubt. No
Yes.
doubt. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just the little snippets that we're getting now, I'm sure there's like so much more.
It is.
So
It
more.
is. Yes,
Like, I
ma'am.
can't even imagine going to gas station trying to get money. I mean, that's not easy.
Yeah. And I did it all throughout the day. So I
Mhm.
can I would try to go to different gas stations to get money to keep gas in the car, because I knew I had to run the car overnight, so we won't be hot. I know that we needed food,
Yeah.
buy soap.
Mm.
So
Where did you do showering and things like that?
we would go to the beach.
Oh, wow.
We would go to the beach. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because a lot of people nowadays, they actually either use like a gym or the YMCA, yeah.
Or even the beach. I see a lot of homeless people and they go to the beach and they shower out
Wow.
there. Yes.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. And how are your kids now?
They're good. They're
Yeah.
good. They just see the transformation and see what God has done in my life throughout the years. And it was like, wow, Mom, like, I love this new you.
Yeah.
And it makes them want Christ.
Amen to that. Yeah.
It makes them want Christ. It was like, wow. I see they're old enough to know, because like I say, I was young. So it's basically like we grew up together. So they see everything that I had went through, and they see me now, and it's like, wow, I want God. Because I know He's real. I seen what God did through my mom. And
Absolutely.
I seen how she overcame so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's just it just like makes my heart drop to just hear how much you've gone through. Now, did you resort to alcohol or any drugs yourself in all that time?
Yes.
You,
Yes, ma'am. During the loss
Mhm.
of my kids, going back and forth to court,
Mhm.
I would drink
Yeah.
from sun up to sundown.
Wow.
I would drink all throughout the day. I would smoke
Hmm.
because I wanted to numb
Right.
the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's understandable. Yeah.
Yes.
And even in that, did you have a certain tribe that you were around with the alcohol, like certain people you hung around with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That can be hard to break away from too.
Yes.
Your
And
so-called friends, but they're really not.
yeah.
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 Hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I say God had to separate me.
Right.
Yeah, because He moved me from one location to another location that I was not familiar with.
Yeah.
And in that isolation place, He began to, deal with me and deliver me from different things. And alcohol was one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Mm-hmm.
ya. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been through a lot. And so then you met your husband in 2000, you said 15?
15. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And that helped. So he was, you met him through the church?
No, I actually met him on Facebook.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So how did that happen on Facebook?
Well, I was home. I was cleaning up. It was about 11 o'clock at night. I had just finished cleaning up, and I checked my phone and I seen that this guy had sent me a message. But I think that we had spoke prior. We had spoke prior like a year later. And
Mm-hmm.
he sent me a message like, "Hey, how you doing? This, that, and the third." I was like, "I'm fine." And we was messing each other back and forth. And I was like, "Okay, I got to get ready to go to bed because I have church in the morning." And he was like, "Hold on, church?" I said, "Yeah, I have church in the morning." You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of unheard of. You seeing a young woman like myself, like saying, "I got to
Right.
go to bed because I got church." He was like, "Church?" He was like, "Can I go to church with you?" And I was
Wow.
like, "Sure." I was like, "Sure." And he said, "All I have he said, all I have is one pair of pants and one pair of shoes." He said, "Is that okay?" I'm like, "That's fine. That's fine.
That's
That's
so
totally
sweet.
fine." hmm And I picked him up and we ended up going to church and he loved it. He was like, "This is what I've been looking for." And when I tell you God transformed his life,
Mm.
yes.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Incredible.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
he'd never been married, no kids of his own.
No, he had no kids and he always wanted kids.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to give him two kids, a girl and a boy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
hmm
wow. Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
hmm
Wow. So just through Facebook, I know back then it was probably a little easier to converse with people. Now you get so many scammers. You don't know who's real and who's like just scammer. You know what I mean? Like back then it was a little bit easier to converse with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even then when I was going to meet him, I didn't tell you this part, but when I was going to meet him, I had just came home from church. Listen, I had my baby in the car and I had just came home to church and he was like, come see me. And I was like, I don't know that. I don't know about that because
Right.
I don't know. I don't really know you like that. I have my baby in the car. I'm like, I just got out of church. I'm gonna go home and get in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled up in my parking lot and getting ready to get out the car, and something like pushed me. And I was like, huh? I was like, what is like something at a force like pushed me. It was like a push to go.
Oh, wow.
And I end up going to see him. And he said when I got there, he says, God says, now take care of her. He said he had been praying for a woman like me. So when he seen me instantly, he was like, wow. He said, God said, okay, now here she is. Take care of her.
Mm, my God.
Mm-hmm.
So he was praying for somebody with kids, the whole nine.
Somebody that, that was that a woman of God,
Right.
first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he said the women that he dealt with, it was all, they wasn't in the church and they was doing this and doing that. But he prayed for a woman of God.
Mm,
And, he wanted to have kids on his own because he said he had tried in the past, but he didn't think that he could have kids.
oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
we ended up getting together, getting married a month later, and having two
Wait,
beautiful.
did you just say 1 month later?
Yes, ma'am.
You met him and 1 month later you were married?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my, that's unheard of.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Your book could be a movie, let alone let alone a book. You got the
Yes,
whole, yeah.
ma'am. It was like God had put us together like that. You
Mm,
knew it was a divine connection. It just like we had been knowing each other for years.
wow. That's incredible. Mm, that is,
Yes.
yeah.
Month later, we end up getting married. Been married 9 years now.
9. Oh wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's unheard of. Like people, know each other for a month. And if they do, they don't last. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, because they don't
hmm
know each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's you're just like blowing me away. 11 kids. I can't even. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I watched your show, with Mary Russell, and it's like you're still blowing me away. I didn't even hear all this. And if
Mm-hmm.
you said it, it probably is like something you need to hear twice. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Wow, unbelievable. So fast forward a little bit. So you had some health issues. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, back in 2016, I was diagnosed with thyroid disease,
Okay.
and it was horrible. I just used to have these a lot of palpitations,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I ended up meeting this lady. It was God had connected us together, but I ended up meeting this lady. I knew nothing about juicing. I knew nothing about that. I used to just eat all type of stuff, just eat what I want to eat, not knowing that what was causing the inflammation and the palpitation, and it
Right.
was triggering the thyroid. And I would go to the doctor and different stuff. They would put me on all these different medications, but I would still have these symptoms. And so I ended up meeting this lady, and she told me, she said, you suffer with thyroid disease, right? And I was like, yeah. So she told me, she said, come. She invited me in her home. She said, I have a juicer here. And she said, I'm gonna give it to you. She said, I want you to juice cantaloupe juice. She said, I want you to drink this juice every day. She even took me to the store and bought me some cantaloupe. She said, I want you to just drink it. Drink it.
Mm-hmm.
And I continued to drink that cantaloupe juice. And I ended up going to my doctor and I had to do blood work. And she called me. She said, Jeronda, she said, I don't know what you've been doing. She said, but the antibiotic.
Oh, I lost your sound. Say it again. No, I lost you. Say it again. Can you hear me? Okay, say something.
It's low, very, very
Okay.
low.
Can you hear me?
Hold on.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. She
I,
said that the antibiotics in the thyroid is leaving. And she took me out the medication. She said you don't need the medication anymore. And I end up just doing a lot of research on different juices that will help, with the thyroid. And yeah, and back in 2000 and what it was, 20, I think this was like a month before the pandemic hit.
mm-hmm.
So it was back in 2020. God led me, he told me to go open up a bank account. And I was like, open up an account. And I was like, Lord, I done messed my name up with the bank. I can't open up no account. And he told me, he says, go to the bank and open up an account. And I had $100 to my name. I had $100. And when I went to the bank, I talked with the lady and she said, we're going to open this account up for you. She said, but do you have $100 to put in the account? So I was like, yeah. So I end up putting $100 in the account. I end up just getting everything situated with the name of the business and getting it registered and everything. And a month later, the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
So God told me, he says, begin to just post the juices and different things that you do on a daily basis. Now the
Oh,
pandemic hit, everything is shut down, the business is closing, people health is at stake. During the pandemic, people was gaining weight.
mm-hmm.
And so I was posting my juices, the ginger shots and different cleanses and detoxes, and people just would reach out to me like, hey, I need that. Do you deliver such and such? So I started delivering in the
Mm.
community. And it just took off from there.
Wow, that is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I took my raw food class, it just blew me away, like to learn how to just even just having a different juicer in itself, it has different amount of nutrients in the juice. You know,
Yes.
double I forgot what they're called. Double something. Yeah. the ones that juice the most have the least amount of nutrients, like those big, huge, well, they used to be Jack LaLanne ones, but now they have different ones, but it'll give you a lot of juice. I think it's centrifugal, but you get the least amount of nutrients in that one. Single gear,
Yes.
a lot of good nutrients. I have an Omega 8006, and that's still actually a good one. I got it years ago, but because it'll juice like wheatgrass, which is
Yes.
really, really good for you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, and full disclosure, not medical advice, not meant to treat, heal, cure, mitigate any illness on the show. Check with your doctor. But yeah, wheatgrass can be very healing. And a lot of juices won't juice wheatgrass. I had a centrifugal juicer from Jack LaLanne. It would just spit it out. Like it wouldn't do, like it wouldn't even do sprouts. Like I tried to juice sprouts, it would just kind of like chop it up and it wouldn't even juice it. So the
Mm-hmm.
omega-6 will juice that. It will juice wheatgrass. It'll juice sprouts like sunflower sprouts or anything like that. So it's a really good juicer. Until this day, a lot of people are still using that one. There are a lot of new ones out there. I don't know a
Yes.
lot of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a brick and mortar juice place.
Your volume is low. I can barely hear
Can't
you.
hear me?
Yeah.
Let me turn it up. How's it now?
It's still kind of low.
I don't know how to fix it. Can you hear me?
It's low. I can barely hear you.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Still low. I hear you, but it's really low.
Okay. Well, we'll keep going. I'll just try to talk loud.
Okay.
Okay. So tell us a little bit. So now you have a brick and mortar store with the juicing?
I can't hear.
You have a brick and mortar store with the juicing now?
I can't hear.
I don't know how to make it better. How about now? Can you hear me?
It's still low.
I don't know how to make it better.
All of a sudden, it just, the volume went down, got really low.
I don't know why.
I'm trying to see it. Is it my phone? But it's not my phone.
Is it turned all the way up on your
Yeah,
phone?
it's turned all the way up.
Huh. I can hear you fine.
Let's see. I don't know. I can hear you, but it's really, really low.
Okay, tell us about the juicing store now.
It's a home base. It's home base. So I run it from my home, and I deliver and I ship.
Wow. So do you still have a lot of deliveries?
Yes.
A lot of clients, yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any testimonials from any of your clients?
Oh yes. Especially a lot of women that deal with thyroid diseases. Yes.
Wow. And what besides cantaloupe juice, what have you seen work the best? And again, not medical advice. What types of juice concoctions do you find work best?
The celery juice. A lot of people don't like it because of the taste, but it's very effective. It's very, very effective. I'm talking about it's good for everything, for your skin, for cleansing, for weight loss, for your digestive.
Oh, you're freezing up. Oh, we just lost her. Well, hopefully she comes right back. Give her a minute. Well, while we're waiting for her to come right back, I will say I attended a raw food course back in Waltham, Mass. And one of the things that they recommended was celery, cucumber, and I believe it was either wheatgrass or sprouts, something like that. That was one of the recommendations to help with people's healing. And it, again, not medical advice, not meant to treat, heal, or cure anybody. Check with your doctor. But that was from Hippocrates Health Institute. My training was based on Hippocrates Health Institute. So I attended a class back in the Boston area in Waltham, who the woman that taught that class attended the Hippocrates Health Institute to help herself get well, and then she started teaching about it. So my teaching came from her, and she attended Hippocrates Health Institute many, many different times. Well, I hope we can get Jeronda back on here. We'll give her a couple minutes. But when I took that course, that raw food course, it was just mind-blowing for me. I learned a lot about sprouts, wheatgrass. Wheatgrass can be very healing. And Wigmore. Oh, she's back.
We back.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, so much better.
Oh, good. So I was just filling people in on when I took a raw food course and how one of the juices that they used to recommend was similar to that, like celery, cucumber, and I want to say wheatgrass, something like that. Yeah, and it was based on Hippocrates Health Institute. That's what they recommend to help people heal. So that's what we left off before you froze and the sound. So tell us again, you said celery juice was one of the things that was helping people the most with their thyroid.
Yes. Celery juice, cantaloupe juice, and pineapple and ginger.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
pineapple
there was
be anti-inflammatory as well. That can be very helpful for people with joint pain. But I do caution you, it has sugar. So if you have some autoimmune issue, Lyme disease, whatever, you want to have it in moderation. Even though it's anti-inflammatory, it does have sugar. So you have to listen to your own body.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So one thing about me, Jeronda, is I've helped in the Lyme disease community. I've helped a lot in that community. I'm a big advocate for it. Do you find with your juices that you're getting a lot of people, not just with thyroid illness, but autoimmune illness?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people with joint pain and things like that. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
Yes.
So they must be so grateful to find something that can help.
Yes. And I would say my number one seller is the pineapple and ginger because a lot of people have inflammation in the body.
Right.
And so it works, the pineapple juice and the ginger. But like I say, it does have a lot of sugar in it. So you want to do it in moderation and listen to your body. Yeah.
Right. Like I said, and just an example of that is when I was going to like all the group meetings for Lyme disease, I remember one woman was saying she was eating a lot of carrots. Now you would think carrots are good for you, right? They're good for the liver, if you don't know, but she was eating a lot and she started to feel like crap. She already had Lyme disease, already diagnosed, full 9. But she just started feeling like really lousy. It turned out, and when I was listening to her, I was like, how many carrots did you eat? It was the sugar in the carrots. She was doing too much. too much. So just in moderate, even though you think of food is good for you, if you have an autoimmune issue like Lyme disease or anything, listen to your own body, because if it's got sugar, even if it's in fruit, carrots, whatever, you want to listen to your own body. So even in same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So do you have testimonials of somebody like that sticks out the most for you that you've helped?
I have a couple. I have a lot of clients that deal with joint pain and that have inflammation in the body, and you know what I'm saying? So they just they drink the pineapple juice and the ginger, and it really helps. It really helps. So I deal with a lot of people that have pain and joint pain, like you know, they can't really move, and you know, their bones are stiff and they're aching here, and they have inflammation in the body. So that's what I mainly I get a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one person that sticks out for you that you've helped?
Well, this one young lady, she goes to my church, and she deals with inflammation, and she also deals with thyroid disease. And she just told me maybe a month ago, she said, I went to the doctor, and she said that the thyroid is leaving. She said the thyroid, she said, I drunk the juice, she said, and I went to the doctor and I did the blood work, and the doctor was telling me that it's leaving. It's no longer, you know, in my body. And she said, I asked her husband last week, I said, how your wife doing, you know, with the juices and everything? She was like, she didn't have no more issues with that. She's not complaining about it anymore. Like, she's fine.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. I help people with autoimmune, food allergies, food sensitivities. And that's a big one, is the joint pain. I'm fortunate enough, I suffered from multiple food allergies, but I'm fortunate enough, joint pain was not one of my issues, thankfully. I just couldn't digest food. So I was always bloated, and food wouldn't go down. I'd go into like anaphylactic shock. But that's usually one of the biggest issues, is the food sensitivities. You know, people eating, like right now, right after, you know, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's a lot of people out there that need both of our help, you know, and they're inflamed to the max right now. They probably had a little bit of wine and drank some stuff. Well, the wine or any certain alcohols, that's got sugar. So that's tribute. One of the things I noticed in the Lyme disease community, they can't cheat. Like, I can cheat, thankfully, and I'm okay. But they can't cheat and feel okay. They feel like they need to sleep for 2 days. They are in pain instantly, just from like a cookie or a glass of wine. That sugar gives them pain. So so something like juicing can really help somebody. So that's awesome that you offer that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And then it's natural.
Yeah, it is. We don't realize how much we consume that's not really good for us.
It's natural.
Yeah. And what we do to just help ourselves, you know?
Yes.
There's many little things that you can do to just help yourself. I got it the hard way, you know, I get it. Is it easy? No. But once you start doing it, it becomes a lot easier. Like I said, I'm fortunate enough, if I want a piece of pie or a cookie or something, I'm not going to be in pain. I'm just going to get bloated, and I just can't every day. But people with autoimmune issues, it's a lot harder for them to so-called cheat, so
yes,
it's good that you offer that, and there's hope for them. There's definitely hope. So I'll probably be running like a 7-day detox in a couple of weeks. So if anybody is in your area, I'll definitely refer them, your way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a few minutes left. So tell everybody how they can reach you, tell them one more time where you live, where your juices are offered if they do live near you.
I live in the Coral Springs area. But I do deliver. I deliver from Coral Springs to Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's the max. I'm not gonna go to Miami. But I do offer shipping as well, so I can ship. And you can locate me on Instagram, it's Jeronda Juice Bar, and on Facebook it's the same, Jeronda Juice Bar.
Awesome. Well, I have a feeling pretty soon those juices are gonna go a little bit further. We'll see what happens, but I have a feeling God's gonna deliver a little bit further out. You'll find a way.
Yes.
But this has been an amazing show with your testimonials, because you have way more than one. I can only imagine what your kids would say if they were on. So thank you so much for pouring out to us tonight, telling us a little bit about your story. I mean, we've only gotten a snippet of it. I look forward to when the book comes out. I will definitely connect you with Brenda, who was on my show, because like I said, she has a whole program where she teaches people how to write but heal before you write, because sometimes that can trigger things you didn't even remember,
Yes.
and it starts to come. So you don't want to trigger things as you're writing and then start going down this this loop of whatever, depression, whatever it triggers. So she helps people do that, helps people write, helps people get their book out. But from hearing your story, your book is probably going to be a book, and then it could be a movie. I mean, I have no doubt. You could be a those Lifetime movies. You could be a Lifetime movie.
This is it's confirmation for me with the book, because God has been telling me to write a book, and I was like, Lord, what can I say? I don't have nothing to say.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you just need somebody to help you get it out.
Yes.
And the other thing is too, I tell people this, I just finished my second anthology. You don't necessarily have to write. Like, you can verbally do it now. You know what I mean? You can click the little microphone on Microsoft Word or a Google Doc, and you speak it. You can get your outline just by speaking it. You write some of it, but it's so less time consuming to just write, because you probably have a busy life. So that's just another thing to think about. You can start jotting down your thoughts, get an outline.
I would definitely consider that. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody who's listening, it's helpful. It's really helpful. That's what I did. I click on the little microphone. I just use Word. There are apps out there. There's Otter something, OTTER. You don't even need it. You can do Google Docs and click the microphone, or Microsoft Word has a little microphone, and you just speak, most of it. You got to go back and fix your errors or whatever, but it's less time consuming, so yeah. So I just wanted to share that for you and anybody else that's listening. So, but yeah, I want to thank you again for being on tonight. This has been amazing. I know it's not easy for you to get on broadcast, so you get used to it. So, you'll probably on more platforms. Like I said, if that book is going to be, I have no doubt that could be a movie. There's no doubt in my mind. There's so much there that we're not even hearing about, so you can only imagine it. But yeah, that could definitely be one of those Lifetime movies. So Lifetime for listening. Book first, I don't know. That's all. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just be a movie. I don't know.
Yes.
It's all to God, and you just pray about it and what He wants you to do, and go from there. But this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being on. So last but not least, for all of you listening, once again, I am looking for sponsors in the new show. So if you know anybody who wants to be a sponsor, we're going to be putting sponsors up in January. So I definitely want sponsors, and looking for people to partner with. If you know anybody that's suffering with food sensitivities, food allergies, autoimmune issues, those types of things. Like I said, I suffered from multiple food allergies and I always had to eat like dairy-free, gluten-free, sugar, low sugar, all that stuff. I can help you with the recipes. So for your clients or patients. So please reach out to me again, either Instagram, Facebook under Paula Denoncourt, Messenger, or info@enrichyourhealth.com with a UR. And last but not least, we need guests for the show. We need your stories. Imagine if Jeronda didn't share her story tonight. Who knows who this story can touch or help, who's out there that's feeling discouraged, right? So
Yes.
in more ways than one, with their health or maybe living in their car, whatever it might be. You might touch, even if it's one person. We need your stories. People need your stories. They're out there waiting for you. So
Amen.
thank you again, and we will see you next Sunday, and we will see you in the new year. It is New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Miss Paula, for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.